Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm so excited to be bringing you this card today and to share some of the techniques I used in making it. I first started with the Spaceflight cutting dies from Brutus Monroe. This was part of their die of the month for May, but it is still available on their website. If you're interested in that, I will link that below. I decided to use one of the rockets here, and as you can see on the packaging there, it is the one on the left with the kind of the turquoise teal body to it. I wanted to try and add a little bit of extra interest. So what I did was get the Brutus Monroe embossing ink, and I just kind of tapped it lightly onto some silver cardstock just to get some ink all over it kind of randomly, and then emboss that with the sterling embossing powder. Once I got all that powder on there, I heat set it with my embossing gun, and I was so happy with the results. I think it gives it a really cool random embossed texture, and I think it'll look really great once we cut out the dies. So I did use the main body die there and also some of the extra little pieces for some of the other parts of the rocket and cut that out. You can see it cuts out the cool little lines there to give it some extra texture and interest as well. I then decided just to cut out some of the other pieces from some pattern paper that had some purple and some blues in it. And then it does give you kind of the base piece also to glue everything down onto. So I just cut that out of black. And here I am just layering my pieces together, trying to decide which pieces I want to use from the pattern paper and which pieces I want to use from the silver embossed cardstock. And if you have one of these jewel picker tools, that makes it really easy to get some of those smaller pieces. I thought I would do something a little bit different with the flame piece here. After I looked at that, I decided I wanted to maybe try and foil the flame. So I'm going to die cut the flame pieces out of some toner paper and I will foil those. I'm going to use these two foil sheets here, the gold static and the orange sketch. And one thing you can do is if you have any extra packaging, this is from a Brutus Monroe stamp set that I always take my stamp sets out of the packaging and put them into little stamp pockets. If you have any packaging that has black toner on it, you can actually use that to foil. So instead of throwing these out, I keep these pieces and I die cut that out of there and I foiled that with the gold and the orange. And then you can see here how awesome the flame pieces look now that they're foiled with the gold and the orange. I really love the way this rocket turned out and I can't wait to add it to our card. The next thing we need to do is to make our background. I knew I wanted to do kind of a purple and a navy dark background to simulate a galaxy. And I have this rainbow spiral stencil from Brutus Monroe that I thought would look really cool as part of our background. One thing that I think works really well with this stencil in particular is using the pixie spray on here. And that's to help make the back of the stencil temporarily sticky so it sticks to your paper. And all you do with this stencil is to ink the part there that's open, and then there's actually kind of embossed lines on the stencil that help you line that up as you go around the stencil. I missed some of my video footage there, so I'm sorry about that, but you can see what I've done here with the stenciling and alternating my colors. And here I am just lining it up to the opening and you just kind of rotate it as you go along. I actually did two blues and a purple and then just kind of repeated that pattern because one of the blue sections, as you go around, I'm going to actually add some glitter glaze to that. So after we do all of the inking, I wanted to add some interest to one of the blue sections and the purple sections as we go around. Here I was trying to figure out if I like that white spot in the middle, but I decided I wanted it to be colored. So I'm just taking some of the Distress Oxide inks that I used for the spiral sections and just blending some color onto there so it's not on a stark white background. The colors I used for the Distress Oxides are the Chipped Sapphire and the Wilted Violet. So the next thing I wanted to do was use the Chroma Mist sprays, which are some really awesome sprays from Brutus Monroe that they have in several different colors. And I wanted to use the blue and the purple to kind of add a little bit of interest and accents to my background here. So I just lined my stencil back up over each section I wanted to spray. So I did some of the blue sections with the blue, and I left some of the blue sections open because we're going to do something else with those in a little bit. And then I also sprayed the purple sections with the purple. And one thing, I think that's really helpful here is to have sprayed the back of your stencil with the pixie spray to get it sticky so it kind of sticks down onto your cardstock there and prevents the sprays from bleeding under the stencil when you spray them. And that helps just keep that spray where you want it to be. Because the Distress Oxides are reactive with water and we're spraying a liquid onto them, it really reacts beautifully with the Chroma Mist. It kind of lightens it in certain sections and adds like that splatter look. I think it just looks really cool. So I went around and I did all of the purple sections and I did half of the blue sections. After I let that dry for a few seconds, I wanted to add in some glitter. Um, I always feel like you can never have enough glitter on a project, so I took the Galaxy Glitter Glaze, and for all the blue sections that I did not spray, I'm going to add the glitter glaze. So I just put my stencil down over the section I wanted to add the glitter to, and got a palette knife and just kind of smooth that on. It's really easy and quick to do each step here because it's just a small section there. But once you do this section, we need to let that fully dry before we can rotate the stencil and do the next section. So you see here that I did all the sections with the glitter, and the ones that aren't glittered have that Chroma Mist spray on them. Once everything was dry, I took the spiral background and I die cut it with a big circle and then put that onto a blue card base. Before I glued that down, I did spray the card base with some of the purple and the blue Chroma Mist to give it a little bit of texture and interest. And then I just glued that spiral back right on and trimmed off the edges. I popped up the rocket ship with some pop dots, put on a sentiment and some sequins, and our card was done. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed our card. If you want to pick up any of the supplies from Brutus Monroe, I will have links listed below. Thank you. Bye.